woke up this morning. I wasn't on Twitter last night. I woke up this morning and I was expecting to see some really good analysis and investigative work over what happened. And instead, the first tweet I see was Fartcoin looks good here. Bought the dip. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Fartcoin doesn't look good here. A mental institution looks good here. If you have the audacity to look at everything that happened over the last 24 hours and have the balls to buy Fartcoin or go, Mog looks good here. You know what? I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. I'm not going to buy Solana at a 20% discount. Takabu looks good. Good God. I mean, some of you guys need help. I hope it works out for you. I hope it works out for you. Good luck. I don't have the balls to buy Solana or Bitcoin. And you guys are buying Fartcoin?
Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all.
Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today we've got a little bit of Crack Pipe Monday, I think. We're going to talk a little bit about what I believe is actually going on pertaining to this liquidation that we saw on Friday last week. I'm also going to spend a little bit of time talking about just how insane the narratives are getting for what I believe will be the final leg into the top, as I've been saying over and over again. And then we will look at some charts and stuff like that, because it looks a lot to me like that was nothing more than a big flush before the moon mission to the top. So as ever, we're going to keep taking it one day at a time, right? We're going to be open to all possible outcomes, and we really do need to give this thing about a week or at least a few days for the dust to settle before we can make any actual conclusions. But I should think by the end of this week, we will know for sure whether or not the top is in or whether we really are well on our way to new all-time highs. So everyone was screaming this is the biggest liquidation in history, and it was in terms of dollar value. The C19 crash was 1.2 billion liquidated. The FTX blowout was 1.6 billion. And on Friday, we saw just shy of 20 billion liquidated. So in absolute dollar value, that is true. It was the largest on record. But you've got to think, right, back in 2020, the crypto total market cap was only around $220 billion, dipping about 50% to 120 billion. But today, of course, we're sat at nearly 3.7 trillion, which is roughly 30 times higher than the pre-C19 levels. So if you put the 20 billion liquidation in context, it wasn't actually a catastrophic wipeout. It was more like a healthy flush in a market that has grown massively. Now, that's not me trying to downplay this by any stretch of the imagination, because some of these coins literally went to zero, right? They cleared the entire order book out. I think Atom was one that went down literally to zero, which is absolutely insane. And this whole thing, as it turns out, was really like a ritual sacrifice, okay? They did this on World Mental Health Day. And yeah, I'm being 100% serious. Friday was World Mental Health Day. So these people are really sick. That's the absolute truth of it. They are really, really sick in the head. And herein lies the start of this crack pipe rabbit hole that I want to go down, okay? Because there was definitely some chicanery afoot here. We know a whale Hyperliquid placed over $23 million of shorts. And exactly 1 minute later, the president announced a 100% tariff on China, leading to the largest liquidation in crypto history by dollar value. So this Bitcoin whale made about $192 million in profits in the biggest liquidation ever. The account that was created to do this short as well was brand new. It was created just moments before the short was placed, and then the funds were withdrawn immediately, which has led a lot of people to say that maybe this is some kind of insider trading type deal. But we're going to take it one step further on this channel, okay? Because at the moment, Binance is facing a backlash over the market crash, and that's because a bunch of these users reported frozen accounts, failed stop loss orders, right, and flash crashes that sent multiple coins near zero. And so since then, Binance have been out and been offering the crumbs to those affected, and they're saying that you can apply and request compensation, but you know these people are not going to get compensated at any level that is fair. So I am therefore making the case that this is something a little bit more nefarious than just thin books and low volume on the weekend. And I also don't really believe it's as simple as, oh, Trump tweeted about tariffs and therefore everything tanked. I don't really believe that's the full story here. And I think Hov absolutely nails it, right? Did we just witness a $190 million pardon? Because remember, DT here is considering pardoning CZ, the CEO of the Binance exchange. And remember, CZ spent about 4 months in a US prison last year for violating the Bank Secrecy Act and failing to maintain proper anti-money laundering controls when he was Binance's CEO. And right now, it seems to me a bit like one possible explanation for all of this, okay, is somebody on the inside placed this short knowing full well DT was going to send this tweet triggering a bunch of spills, okay, then they turn off the stop losses, they turn off the buy button at the bottom, they generate around $192 million worth of profit, they come out and offer a token apology, only to say, thanks Mr. President, here's your $190 million in exchange for my pardon. So by all means, call me crazy, okay? Maybe the tinfoil hat is on too tight, but I think this is probably what we are just looking at the moment. And as if by magic, okay, same stuff, different day. Tariff on, tariff off. Thank you for playing, okay? Because just like that, we've got de-escalation in the tariff situation from China. You can see the pre-market, we've pretty much undone the entire spill so far, okay? And this is probably going to continue. And that's again because the president has said the China situation will all be fine. Now, in addition to this, as if we needed more bullish narrative, we've also got the war over, okay? As we've got a ceasefire and hostages being released. Wild, wild, wild times. So it does seem to me the markets were in desperate need of a pullback. We're just probably not going to get one, as you'll see from the charts in a moment when we get there. And if you haven't figured out the game by now, okay, here is a very nice illustration. We get the tariff announcement and then everything is fine. We get the tariff announcement, everything is fine, and it's probably going to be the same again at the hard right edge. I am still championing another one. Another what? Another Dalai Lama Bitcoin meme pattern here, which is of course the Greek letter mu, which you're about to see right here. I think that's what we're going to get. It's a little bit too early to say, but typically it would take around a week for this thing to materialize. And so I said the other day that the 16th of October probably marks the start of the moon mission for the simple reason that that's how long a Dalai Lama pattern usually takes to play out. One last thing, which I thought was very interesting before we hop into some charts, is this ritual sacrifice, okay, is, if you ignore the wick, not showing any sign of technical damage. And although a lot of these wicks exist on most exchanges, on my chart, we didn't even get a new lower low, okay? And in a lot of spread betting accounts, there was no wick to a new lower low. So it seems to me like we've got a very, very, very good chance here at this whole thing being a Dalai Lama, and we'll be complete by the end of the week, heading to new highs. So not something I think many people were thinking. And of course, if we are to roll over here and then print a new low, then we have to invalidate this idea and pretty much start calling tops, to be completely honest with you. But again, I want to take this thing one day at a time. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt for now. I notice a bunch of these altcoins are pretty much recovered from where they dipped from. I know some of them are still down quite a lot, but generally speaking, it doesn't look too bad, right? Like Ethereum got a perfect touch of support and is holding up so far. XRP is kind of pretty much back to the same price levels it was before the crash, and it's a little bit down, but you know, still well within this range. And also zooming out here, I mean, this is clearly breakout, hard retest, looking for resumption here, right? Hard retest being the type 3 breakout. So far, this is no way near as bearish as a lot of people are making out. It's just a shame that we got this horrible ritual sacrifice on World Mental Health Day. The stock market looked like it was getting ready for a more serious pullback, and this may well be the start of A before B and C. But given all the narratives here, given how blow off toppy we are, given how late stage cycle we are in the 4-year cycle for the S&P, right, here's the 4-year cycle low, it's in sight now. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that is the low and we're going to start firing out of here. So as ever, we'll take it one day at a time. We'll use the same trend line technique, right? We'll give it a few days, wait for the market to prove what it wants to do, and then if we need to encompass the lowest low wick by readjusting the trend line, we will. Same as we always do on this channel, and that keeps us on trend for longer. You can see that the VIX so far, but off significantly, okay? Notice how in crashes we just kind of explode higher. So far we have yet to do that, okay? So if we can leave Friday's candle as the high and continue to compress back to the downside, then I would say the low is probably in. Gold up 56 points today. Again, can't complain with that. Still using trend lines to keep us in the trade. And silver still pushing up. All of these mining stocks, look, bouncing perfectly off support. I think it's the same for the individual ones we added in the level 3 members section. So whilst we're queuing shorts and getting ready to take profit from all the way back in January, to be honest, you know, this has still got a lot of strength in it and don't really see anything to be too concerned about for now. So it seems like everything's going according to plan, right? I don't really have to make any adjustments here, and we haven't had to for quite a while. It seems like the 10-year yield's still coming off, right? I saw a whole heap of people getting extremely bullish in here, remember? And I was saying that doesn't make any sense to me. And I think we're going to continue to tell that to the bond market. In fact, I think if we take a look at the bond market futures, then we can say for sure that this is going to be, look, completely baked into the cake, okay? We are absolutely getting a rate cut, and we're absolutely getting one in December at the moment as well. Okay, so again, no surprises there. No one's opinion matters, right? You don't need to do any macro analysis. You just look at the bond market futures and the chart of truth, and we say, oh, the rate's going down. If they are, then tell that to the bond market, okay, which is camel's razor, meaning we don't need any skills or macro knowledge. We literally just watch where the rates go, and that will enable us to predict what's going to happen with the Fed funds rate. So I think there's a very good chance, as per my Saturday kind of emergency update. There's never an emergency on this channel. We take our time, right? We're very methodical on this this channel. We never have any knee-jerk reactions. There's never any sense of urgency, ever. But the kind of, quote, emergency video we did at the weekend, wherein I was saying, I think this is going to just be a Dalai Lama. I think that we are late stage cycle and we're going to continue higher. That so far seems to be the case. Now, it could very easily be invalidated. And so, you know, if we have to come back and invalidate some stuff, we'll do that in the week. But as it stands right now, I'm not too concerned. And despite all the damage and the carnage, when I was making the level 3 members video at the weekend, I realized that we've taken almost no damage over there. So it really seems like this whole incident was just isolated to the altcoin market. So a little bit more taking it one day at a time is absolutely necessary here. Unfortunately, I can't draw any conclusions for a few days, maybe even for a week, but certainly by Friday, I would think everything's going to be looking okay. We'll at least know, right? Even if the tops are in and things are starting to crash, or we've got a much bigger correction to deal with, then we'll know by the end of the week, right? And if not, we're probably going to be at all-time highs. And of course, if we're all-time highs, then who cares, right? It is what it is. Business as usual. So be safe out there. Go slow, okay? Slow and steady is going to win this race. I'm your boy Camel. Have a fantastic week. Until next time, all the best from me. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns and his money